The BBC host questioned the En Marche MP on whether French plans to send the famous Bayeux Tapestry to Britain were part of Mr Macron's strategy to financially exploit Brexit. An 11th century treasure, the Bayeux Tapestry is symbolic to both Britain and France as it depicts the Norman conquest of England. Ms Coburn said, "Call me a cynic, many do, but the Bayeux Tapestry, the generous offer from Emmanuel Macron, what does he want in return? There is no such thing as a free lunch." BBCBrexit News. Jo Coburn grilled Macron ally Alexandre Holroyd about Frances Brexit strategyThe BBC Daily Politics presenter continued her grilling session with Mr Holroyd, saying, "How successful has France been in attracting all these businesses and people from London to Paris? This has been a campaign to try and lure financial services, rightly or wrongly, from London, which has been seen as the main financial centre, to Paris. Why are you being shy about it?" Mr Holroyd, however, rejected suggestions France would use the offer to loan the prestigious art piece to obtain favours from Britain, claiming Mr Macron was merely trying to preserve France's well-established relationship with Britain. He said, "I'm not being shy. I'm actually very open about the fact that we are trying to attract financial services, but also companies, investors, researchers, students from everywhere. But the Bayeux Tapestry, the generous offer from Emmanuel Macron, what does he want in return?" Jo Coburn: "We have an incredibly close relationship between France and the UK. That's a bilateral relationship that is independent of the European Union. It's an incredibly close relationship in defense, for instance. And it's an incredibly close relationship for cultural exchanges. That's what we're doing. Bayeux is part of that. It's part of cultural exchange because it's a shared history which goes back 950 years. Mr Macron made boosting the economy a key component of his electoral manifesto, setting out to reform the inflexible French Labour Code in order to attract in more banking and business ventures. British companies concerned about the trading capacities after Brexit became the main target of Mr Macron's luring campaign, with the president boasting about the European banking authority's decision to relocate to Paris once the UK leaves the EU. Mr Macron is currently visiting with Prime Minister Theresa May to discuss the future relationship between France and the United Kingdom and France after Brexit. Reports suggest Mr Macron could be willing to tone down his finance-thwarting attempts in exchange for Britain's economic support in housing migrants.